Chapter 9. We emerged almost immediately from Zero Space. Only one of the vessel's wise ones had been aboard at the time of the attack. He appeared via a net. I had met him very briefly. His current chosen name was Farsight. It was a name appropriate to his role. A wise one's name. It is clear that Ket is under attack from an alien species of unknown origin. We are calculating a return trajectory and hope to place this vessel at the disposal of some other home crystal. Perhaps we can be of some assistance, though without weapons. Farsight's quills drooped and he lowered his eyes. He was very old. I hoped he was very wise. I wanted to believe he was. But he seemed unaware of the fact that we had an alien craft in tow. Non-essential crew did not memo wise one. It wasn't done. Especially not in the midst of a crisis. But I was too jangled to be very concerned with social niceties. I keyed up a waiting mem. He could ignore it if he chose. I was gratified, and encouraged, to see that Farsight responded by immediately opening a channel. His head jerked up and he seemed to be staring right at me. "It's still with us?" "Yes, wise one," I replied. "It's trapped within our force field. Or half in and half out." It was not encouraging to realize that the people in charge had no real idea what had happened down here by Engine 3, had no idea that the force field had been compromised. The MCQ-3 had been caught more unprepared than I'd imagined. I memmed a very brief description of what had happened. The reaction was immediate. There was a flurry of wings and half a dozen people zoomed past me, vectoring toward the alien ship. Lakofa was one of them. He paused and yelled, "Well, come on, hero. You killed him." It was a typical backhanded slap/stroke from Lakofa. But it stung more than it soothed. I had killed. It was the second of the 5 laws, take no sentient life. Second in importance only to, lift for all. I glanced back at Agila. She was alive. But in no condition to join me. A long period of dockage, that's what she needed. She'd be fine. She'd be fine. Had to be fine. Her survival had become vital to me. She had to live. No one else had. I undocked and flew to catch up with Lakofa. Jiklet was with him. 7 of us flitted before the nose of the craft, nervous, jumpy, unsure of how to proceed. "It's a container," someone said. "Everything that matters will be within. We need to get inside." Of course the word inside filled us each with dread, though we had surely just survived worse than mere enclosure. "The sheet metal's pretty thin," Jiklet said. "If it wasn't, then the spar tip wouldn't have penetrated. But see? There are wires and other sorts of primitive conduit running through the skin. I can peel the metal easily enough. The wiring will take a bit longer if we're to save what's here. And if you want me to open the hatch, well, I'd first have to trace each wire." She waited for an answer. 4 orders. It occurred to me that no one had any clear sense of who, if anyone, was in charge. Finally Lakofa said, "Preserve the function of the alien ship. But hurry. Get us an opening." Jiklet went to work, and 2 of the others zipped in to help her. They were experienced techs. Lakofa and I and the remaining members of our strange rescue party were not. Lakofa looked more worried than I've ever seen him. Me, I didn't need any help feeling grim. The memory of my home falling away trailing a mist of Ketran blood behind it was still fresh. Would always be. I could see the alien too well now. His lidless eyes were darkening. As if some deeper blue pigment were seeping into the iris. His head was bulbous, large by our standards. He had no wings. He had a beak for a mouth, a sharp, downturned thing that gave him a sad, disappointed expression. A number of long, thin, multiple-jointed arms hung limp. Her skin was a green so dark it might almost have been black. The long crystal spear entered his head from directly above. "Kapassin," Lakofa said in answer to my unspoken query. "I guess our mission of peace is cancelled." "What do we do now?" I asked. "You tell me, gamer." Jiklet wiped her face. A nicked conduit had sprayed her with some pressurized fluid. She had closed it up. That's as much as we can do. There are main structural supports back of this. If we cut those, we'll never get her closed up again. There was a squarish hole, lined with sharp curls of steel and jumbled wiring. A hole big enough for one of us to enter through, once the spar had been removed. "Let's pull the spar out," Lakofa said quietly. It was gruesome work. When we lifted, the spear stuck and the alien corpse began to rise through the hole. Lakofa and one of the techs put their pods against the alien's soft, yielding skull, and we pulled all at once. There was a sucking sound and the spear came away. The body fell in a heap on the deck of his ship. Two of the techs flew the spar away for disposal. No one was going to suggest reattaching it. Not a killing weapon. No one looked at me. No one said anything, but no one looked at me, either. "We need to see whether we can fly this thing," Lakofa said. He licked his lips. He wasn't volunteering. Neither was Jiklet. It wasn't hard to understand, an enclosed space was bad enough. An enclosed space occupied by a corpse was still worse. Dead bodies were not meant to be kept around, they fell away from their docks to burn up on the surface below. Anything else was hideous and perverted. And yet I had a relationship with this dead alien. He was mine in some indefinable way. "I'll do it," I whispered. "You don't have to," Lakofa said kindly. But his eyes said different. "If not you, gamer, then who?" "You'll have to help hand me in and out," I said. I looked pleadingly at Lakofa and Jiklet. "You'll get me out?" Jiklet put her hand on my arm. "If I have to slice the ship up like a fresh bat, we'll get you out." I took a couple of deep breaths. No time to waste. Farsight would be anxiously waiting our report. We all wanted, to get back to Get. "Look for weaponry," Lakofa said. I nodded. I'd look for weaponry. If I could fight down my urge to panic and lacerate my wings in an enclosure rage. I landed on the ship. I folded my wings tightly. Do it in one quick drop, 2 min. All at once. I stepped off, fell through the hole, and landed with one pod on blood-slicked floor and the other on a pair of the alien's arms. I fell over, prostrate on the deck, my face inches from the capassin's now opaque eyes. The scream was in my throat before I could think. I screamed, panic, all around me, closed in. "No sky, no sky. Close your eyes." Lakofa yelled. "Tumen, shut your eyes. Don't look." His own fear-edged voice scared me more. But I closed my eyes. Squeezed them shut. And my wings stayed tight. I breathed hard, then softer, forcing myself to be calm. Slowly open one eye, Tumen. No, look away from the capassin. Up. Look up at the hole, look up at the open hole and beyond at the star field. A night sky. Not my night sky, but a sky just the same. Sky. Okay, I can do this. I can. I opened my other eyes. I climbed direct, shaky, but not panicky. But it took real effort to tear my longing gaze away from the safe square above me, to look away from the sky and the faces of my companions. The cockpit of the ship was small by any standard. And it was made smaller still by the instrumentation that seemed at first to be a randomly assembled pile of black boxes with glowing green lights. It reminded me of nothing so much as our own emergency backup systems. Primitive systems made of metals, using electrons rather than photons to carry data. And all designed to be manipulated by touch rather than mem. It was crude. How could it be so crude? The larger version of this ship had murdered my home crystal in less than 5 minutes. How could this ship be so laughably backward? It was an insult, an outrage. "You need to hurry, Tumen." "Yes. Are you okay?" "Yes. Yes. It's not right. I mean, they're. Why would they? Tumen, this isn't the time. They killed everyone. I know, Tumen. But we don't have time right now. Don't think about that. Focus. It's a game, Tumen. It's a game and you're Ellimist. Analyze. Don't feel, it's just a game. Yes. That's what it was. A sim, not real. There had been no dagger-sharp ship. No pale red beam. No tornado of flechettes. A game. A problem. I shook myself, loosened my painfully tight-gripped wings. There were controls. Physical fly-by-wire controls. Some would run the ship. Some would be for simple maintenance and environmental functions. Then there would be the weapons. What could that symbol mean? Was it ship's altitude? Probably. At least to my own Ketran sensibilities. Yaw. Roll. Altitude. Airspeed? And beside those. Yes, those had to be flight controls. Thrust. Reverse thrust. Micro thrusters. Okay, then those long things, those jointed sticks, those were the weapons controls. It would require skill to fly and fight the ship simultaneously. Could I at least fly it? Not well. But yes. Maybe. Maybe as well as a flightless alien, anyway. What did a surface creature understand of flight after all? Ellimist? Lakofa prodded gently but insistently. I took a deep breath. My next words would seal my fate, perhaps all our fates. You can report to Farsight I can bring this ship within our field. And fly her when we get home. It has weapons? Yes. I don't know what they do. But yes. They kill, that's what they do, Lakofa said grimly. And it may be that's what we need.